wonderful day. If nobody tells you, remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. Hope you guys and gals have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever time zone, because we international, baby. I choose you, girl. Yeah, I ain't know I can say. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast, where I talk about wrestling topics and I put in my matches classic album. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company. We have all our matches from 2025 and then previous years as well. And we're getting ready for our next show, February 21st, 2026, called The Big Business, named after the C3 Ultimate Wrestling Champion in the BIG of the 313, Joseph Ivory Credit. So make sure you get your tickets. It's in Dyer, Indiana, Harold's private venue. Tickets are $5 off on Eventbrite. There'll be $5 more at the door bars. God bless you, Raphael. SmackDown yesterday was garbage. So disappointing. I didn't watch SmackDown. I saw like a clips. I'll probably watch it today. Like yesterday, I was so tired. I was so tired after I got off of work. I got off of work. I worked out a little bit, and then I just went to sleep low key. So nobody tells you God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. I'm praying for you guys as well. I wanted to talk about two things. Now, the first, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm on the outside looking in it. I watch TNA from time to time, but I don't. But what I do know is that one of the biggest stories was Santana. Going after the championship, falling short and stuff like that, coming up short and stuff like that. They said that he's really been trying to fight and claw for the title. And then last month he finally wins the title. People are taking pictures with, they're giving him thanks. He's with his kid, his child, and everything like that. And people was like, oh man, this is something that TNA has been doing right. They finally pulled the trigger on him. Some people said that he should have won it 3 months ago, but they was like, okay, well, finally he's a world champion. He bet on himself because, he was in a tag team with Ortiz in AEW, and then they was in TNA before and stuff like that and doing stuff on the indies, and they had a dispute. One person was fine with what they were doing. Ortiz was. Santana wanted more, wanted to do certain things. So he bet on himself, and he finally became a world champion. So he loses it a couple days ago. He loses it. They said a 32-day reign. So people are furious about the situation. Lafayette in the building. Rich Syndicate. What up, Robert Brown? What up? They see AEW had blood and guts like always. I saw clips. I was asking people, did people want to see my reaction looking at it? Everybody saying it was better than the men's match. Like I said, I don't care for neither one, so I'm gonna take your word on it. What am I gonna say? I know a lot of people were sharing Sky Blue's face because Sky Blue was Sky Red, and they're like, oh, well, she earned it. She needs to win championships and stuff. She's a star, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, for bleeding? But anyway, hey, it is what it is. So, Santana, he loses the belt in 32 days to Kazarian. I like Kazarian. Obviously, it's a shock. I think TNA does this a lot to where they're like, we want to give back to people who are like, staples in the company. Kazarian was a staple in the company. He used to have long hair. I used to love his flex capacitor move, even though it looked like he would break his wrist. I like Kaz. I thought what he was doing in TNA was pretty decent. He was the first tag champion with Scorpio Sky. Him beating Santana, I wasn't expecting that. I know he had a thing where he could cash in or whatever like that. For what I've seen, I know that didn't him and Dolph have it, or Nick Nemeth? I don't know. Like I said, I'm on the outside looking in. But still, apparently they jumped Santana and basically cashed in and won. So like a lot of people was like, well, why did y'all even put the belt on Santana? They were saying that he was supposed to show up at the event yesterday. I don't know if he did. They were saying he was like avoiding calls and all of that stuff. So some people was like, yeah, I'll be mad too. And some people are calling it a story. So let's speak about what I know so far. 30-something days for a championship reign, it's crazy, but this ain't the first time. We've seen people lose championships the same day they win it. CM Punk was the heavyweight champion for about 4 minutes until Seth came in, Some guys, they only had it for 2 days and stuff. You know, the Undertaker's first championship run, it didn't last that long. When Christian finally won the World Heavyweight title, he lost it low-key in 2 days to Randy Orton. So it's like, these are the kind of things, like, they don't really last long, but sometimes it's like, what does it end to? Now, I will say this. Christian losing to Randy and stuff like that, it didn't benefit Christian at all. It just didn't. He was a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion in the WWE, but and an ECW champion, but still, it didn't do nothing because, one, how he won the title back, and then 2, how he quickly lost it after. So it didn't really do nothing. So when people be like, okay, it's part of a story, I'll be like, well, what's the end goal of having a belt for 32 days? A belt that people felt that you should have had months ago, and then all of a sudden you get it back a second time. Is the end goal for him to be a 2-time champion? Because honestly, are we going to remember, like, are we going to be like a former 2-time champion like that if you lose the belt in 30-something days? See, that's how I think. When I'm putting things together, I want people to understand either the longevity or everything like that. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with wrestlers losing belts in 30-something days. But to me, it's like when you finally do something right, you don't do it so early, in my opinion. Like I said, storyline or not. If he's not showing up because he's frustrated, I definitely understand. I personally think WWE bought TNA, and WWE is telling TNA, hey, don't do this, don't do that. I personally think that's what's happening. Honestly, I honestly think that WWE has a play in what TNA does, obviously, of the monopoly. I think they own them, but that's just me. I think they probably own them. They're not saying nothing yet, but it is what it is. Maybe they like Santana and WWE wants him, or maybe they don't like him and saying, hey, if y'all want us to do business with y'all, I don't know. But like I said, I do think that WWE owns him. But still, I do understand people's frustration because, you know, it craps on Kaz as well. Now, I wasn't expecting Kaz to be a world champion in TNA. Not going to lie to you guys, as a person who does like Kaz moveset and stuff like that. But still, you know, I think a lot of people was just like, man, y'all really rained on Santana's parade. Which Christian? Christian, actually, Vince did not like Christian. I think that, like, when you look at old stuff, there's footage of like Royal Rumble posters in the back, and there's like a blue or yellow sticker on Christian's face because it was just a rib that Vince clearly didn't like him. So like I said, both of his world title runs, they wasn't that great. Now the first one was special because, remember, Edge had retired. He had to retire because his neck injury is the neck stuff, and basically Christian won it after he beat Del Rio, and people was like, okay, cool, it's a special moment, he's going to have a belt. And then 2 days later, but they're going to say 4 days later because SmackDown used to be pre-recorded on Tuesday, and then it would show either Thursday or Friday. But still, you only had it for two days in reality. So yeah, they definitely didn't really care for Christian like that. CM Punk cashed in on Jeff moments after Hardy. Yep, Money in the Bank stuff, all that. Yeah, Frankie should have been one of years ago. Yeah, like, yeah, a lot of people got love for Santana. John beating Ray, that's also a good one. Ray Mysterio was the WWE champion, and then John just came back and he won. He's going to be a 2-time champion by January. WWE title. Cass, TNA, Kazarian, Santana, Demon, Triple Threat, Genius. That's probably going to happen. Vince only like big wrestlers. So, yeah, the Baron. So, yeah, I do think that if this is a story, he's going to be a 2-time champion because maybe they're trying to be like, oh, well, you know, we should have pulled the trick on you a couple months ago. But at the same time, that is still kind of crazy. I think that you still could have kept him as a champion leading into like the new year or something. You know, my opinion. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with short title reigns, but still, it's just the invested stock into the situation. Because even with Cody, right, I kind of felt that Cody was going to be a 2-time world champion, or at least a 2-time. I just felt it because of, excuse me, because of the stories and stock that they was basing it in on. I can't say I feel the same for Santana, but if that does make him a 2-time champion, cool, I guess. You know what I'm saying? How do you go about doing it, basically? How do you go about making him a 2-time champion, right? So, still, very interesting to see what they do with that. Yeah, so I think they definitely should have waited, but they should have kept the belt on him. I did want to speak briefly because I'm at work. I do want to speak briefly about Joe Hendry. So, Joe Hendry has officially signed with WWE, and people are like, we knew this was going to happen, and honestly, we all did. I think we all knew that he was going to sign with WWE. Now, some people may say, oh, well, you know, he's very, very popular and stuff, but he's been out for a while with that song and stuff like that. Will he do well in WWE? Heck yeah, he'll do well in WWE, man. Heck yeah, he will do good in WWE. See, a lot of WWE fans know him, but not every WWE fan knows him. When you start doing songs and you start doing commercials and stuff like that, people are going to want to buy his merch. People are going to want to sing his songs. And if y'all let him sing songs like he was singing in TNA, that's money. I mean, look at, what's his name? Penta. Look at Penta, right? Penta been doing this stuff for years. The Zero Metal. He been doing all of that stuff all these years. With the mask and all of that stuff. The smooth operator walk and all that. But now look at him. He's one of the top merch sellers with mask and all of this other stuff. The man is making so much money just being himself. Now Joe Hendry, who had a crazy ovation at last year's WrestleMania going against Randy Orton. That's money. He's about to be a top merch seller. Like, to me, there are people who run gimmicks and characters into the ground. He's doing great because he's at a smaller platform now. And now when he goes to a bigger platform, it's going to be dope for him. Y'all see Matt Cardona? I saw that. I saw some of it. Like I said, I'll probably look at some of the stuff today if I have time. But still, I think that Joe Hendry going to I don't need you to tell me where to go. You can go subscribe to this channel. But anyway, shout out to you. But still, I think that is a big move, obviously. I know I felt that he should have been signed, but contracts, and sometimes people are loyal to other companies. People are like, hey, I don't want you to just drop this contract, or can you drop my contract? Sometimes people do what they want to be loyal and stuff like that. So a global judge, not. But still, I do see big things. I see, global juggernaut. Yeah, a global juggernaut, a wrestling company, the WWE World Wrestling Entertainment, formerly known as WWF World Wrestling Federation. But still, it's a big thing for Joe. Like I said, I do think that he's going to make a lot of money off of merch sales and stuff like that. They're going to do the turnaround thing, the song and stuff. Appreciate you, Amy. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm grateful for every subscriber that I have on this channel. Thank you. So, no problem. No problem, IOI. But still, I think that obviously it's a big move. We're going to see what they do with him. I don't think that he's going to NXT. But if he is going to NXT, I don't think they're going to have him there for a long time. I think people still love his song. People still like him. Like I said, when I went to the Wrestling Expo this year, that line was so long for Joe Hendry. And you had other guys. You had the Hurt Syndicate. You had Swerve. And you had a lot of these guys. And don't get me wrong, they had long lines too, but his was like wrapped around. Like, people wanted him to sign titles, take pictures, videos, TikToks, and stuff like that. So still, I think that obviously a bigger platform will make him more money and bigger money and stuff like that. So shout out to Joe Hendry and congratulations. But let me know what you guys think about the Santana situation. Should he have kept the belt longer? Is this part of a bigger story? How do you feel about Joe Hendry signing to WWE? Let me know. I'm at work, so on the ways to get these 8 hours in. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it.